The History Channel's long-running series Pawn Stars is one of those rare reality television shows that appeals to almost everyone. And since her first appearance on Pawn Stars' fourth season in 2011, the rare book expert Rebecca Romney has become a mainstay and one of the most popular experts till date. Though she is now undeniably a History Channel celebrity, very little is known about the spunky scholar, aside from the fact that she loves rare books and is extremely well versed in the study of them. So let's get to know the real side of Rebecca Romney. Hi, welcome back to our channel. There is a claim to fame that she is related to Mitt Romney through marriage. The couple both now share their actual relation to 2012 presidential hopeful Mitt Romney, which Rebecca has briefly spoken about in interviews. Romney was the candidate for the Republican Party. Many will fondly remember the very civil campaign Romney and his opponent both ran, versus the more anything-goes election run that we witnessed recently. She's a Sherlockian. Long before Batman held it, another fictional sleuth held the title of world's greatest detective, Sherlock Holmes. To this day, his following is so fierce that there even exists an entire subculture of people dedicated to studying his life and work. They are called Sherlockians. It's no surprise that Romney would be a fan, but she is a die-hard scholar for everything Sherlock Holmes. She even appeared on an episode of the Sherlock Holmes-based podcast I Hear of Sherlock Everywhere, where it's always 1895. Rebecca has said that from the moment she read the line, "I confess that I covet your skull," a quote directed at the detective in perhaps his most famous adventure, The Hound of the Baskervilles, she knew that this was going to be a series she would love. She's made one mistake on a Pawn Stars episode. We've all been in situations where we've had to think on our feet, and we've all had those moments where we realize later we may have made a mistake. For Rebecca, a moment like this came in the Pawn Stars episode Cool as Ike, when she misidentified a printing of Crusade in Europe by Dwight D. Eisenhower as the first edition or first printing when it was not. She made the mistake because she had been researching a separate book just prior to filming and had briefly mixed the two up. The mistake may have gone unnoticed had an eagle-eyed fan not watched the episode and promptly sent Rebecca an email. Being the honorable woman that she is, Rebecca took to her blog straight away to rectify the small mistake. She's actually friends with the other people on the show. Sometimes with reality television, it can be hard to tell which relationships are scripted and which of the cast genuinely get along in real life. For Rebecca, it seems that she has been lucky enough to forge some real relationships during her time on Pawn Stars. According to her, she and her husband often join up with Craig the gun expert as well as Mark from Clark County Museum and his wife, and they go out for dinner together and have a nerd fest. She also goes on double dates with Rick. She has stated in interviews that there have been times when Rick has made a decision about a rare book without calling her. We can only imagine what kind of dinner conversation is involved when he makes a very wrong, very costly decision. She's had to stop filming to ask people to handle books properly. The rare book trade seems like something that would attract a more elegant class of person. But a pawn shop in Vegas is a pawn shop in Vegas. Though they may be dealing with priceless artifacts and objects of tremendous beauty, the folks who come to acquire these objects often have no idea what they are doing when it comes to keeping them intact. All too often, we have seen people come in with objects that may have been sold for a high price only to have their hopes dashed because of the conditions they've been kept in. Sometimes, Rebecca even has to stop the cameras from rolling long enough to quickly educate people, lest they allow the books to deteriorate to point of being no longer salvageable. She's published a book of her own. The Romneys have not only published this book together, but have also collaborated on a number of blog and magazine entries. Fun fact that we learned from one of them: in the original printing of Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain, an erect member was added onto a drawing of Uncle Silas as a joke. Twain immediately asked for all copies of the book to be recalled and corrected. She can read in 5.5 languages. In order to become an expert in the rare book trade, one has to be able to identify different editions of books from all over the world and from many varying time periods. That's not even mentioning being able to identify authentic signatures by people from all kinds of ethnic backgrounds. Obviously, only speaking 1 or 2 languages would be a handicap for someone trying to identify the authenticity of an old world book. Rebecca Romney has overcome this by learning to speak and read in an impressive 5.5 languages. She fluently speaks English, French, and Japanese, and also can read in ancient Greek, Latin, and Old English. And do you know that she comes from a family of scientists? The rebellion can't have been too intense, though, since she's also stated elsewhere that she comes from a family of readers. Her dad was heavily into science fiction and she used to steal her brother's books to read them. Since she was 5 years younger than them, she often ended up throwing them at things instead. Little did anyone know that one day she would grow up to be one of the biggest book experts around. So this is up for today, guys. We hope you liked it. If you really liked this video, then show us some love by giving us a like and subscribe to our channel so that you won't miss any of the updates. Thanks a lot for watching. We will see you with another video.